The Battle of the Bulge, also known as the Ardennes Offensive, was the last major German offensive campaign on the Western Front during World War II. The primary military objectives were to deny further use of the Belgian port of Antwerp to the Allies and to split the Allied lines, which potentially could have allowed the Germans to encircle and destroy large Allied forces. The German army achieved a total surprise attack on the morning of the 16th of December 1944 due to a combination of Allied overconfidence, preoccupation with Allied offensive plans, and poor area reconnaissance due to bad weather. The German attack involved around 400,000 soldiers, 1,400 tanks and assault guns, 2,600 artillery pieces, and over 1,000 combat aircraft, as well as large numbers of other armored fighting vehicles. The German plan also contained an airborne assault into the American rear to take and hold some crossroads until the arrival of the German armored spearhead. This operation was called Operation Stösser. Friedrich August Freyer von der Heydte, a seasoned paratrooper commander and veteran of the airborne assault on Crete, was summoned in early December and told to prepare for a mission, but not given any details. Heydte was given 8 days to prepare. He wanted to use his own regiment, but this was forbidden because its movement might alert the Allies to the impending attack. Instead, he was provided with a Kampfgruppe or a task force of approximately 800 men. The German 2nd Parachute Corps was tasked with contributing 100 men from each of its regiments. But instead of contributing their best men as ordered, the regiments sent their misfits and troublemakers. To avoid alerting the Allied forces, the German command planned to conduct the drop without conducting reconnaissance or taking aerial photographs. The men had very little time to establish unit cohesion or trained together. Many of the men assigned to Heydte had never jumped out of an airplane before. By the time of this airborne assault, the Luftwaffe no longer maintained training or proficiency in combat airlift tasks such as low altitude and formation flight or airdrop operations. The Luftwaffe assigned 2 airlift units to Operation Stösser, the second group of Transportgeschwader 3, so Transport Wing 3, and the third group of Transportgeschwader 4, which was an ad hoc unit organized on short notice. Much of the force arrived to their operational squadrons straight from pilot training. They lacked currency in night flying, navigation, and airdrop operations. None had flown a Junkers Ju-52 in formation before, and the majority lacked any significant combat experience. To boost the pilots' confidence and chances of success, the Luftwaffe arranged for searchlights to mark a path to the front lines between the Paderborn airfield and the Ruhr Valley. Several German airfields' lighting illuminated for use as a navigation checkpoint despite the blackout orders in effect. The drop time was set for 3 a.m. on the 17th of December. The drop zone was 11 kilometers north of Malmedy. Their objective was to seize the crossroads and hold it for approximately 24 hours until relieved by the 12th SS Panzer Division, hampering the flow of Allied reinforcements and supplies in the area. Just after midnight on the 17th of December, 112 Junkers Ju-52 transport planes took off during a powerful snowstorm and with strong winds, considerable low cloud cover. German pathfinders were supposed to lead the way. These pathfinders would mark the target with incendiary bombs and drop 300 dummy Fallschirmjäger in the vicinity as decoys. As the formation approached the front lines, it began to fall apart from the rear forward, like a zipper unzipping. Several of the overloaded and underpowered Junkers Ju-52s fell back from the formation. The entire formation lost integrity as the inexperienced pilots and navigators turned to their next checkpoints based on pre-calculated winds and ground speed rather than following their formation leaders. Many planes went off course. 250 men were dropped near Bonn, 80 kilometers from the intended drop zone. Strong winds also deflected many paratroopers. Only a fraction of the force landed near the intended drop zone. Since many of the German paratroopers were also very inexperienced, some were crippled upon impact and died where they fell. But because of the extensive dispersal of the drop, Fallschirmjäger were reported all over the Ardennes, and the Allies believed a major division-sized jump had taken place, causing the Americans much confusion and convincing them to allocate men to secure the rear instead of facing the main German thrust at the front. An entire US infantry regiment, along with 300 tanks, surged several days for the German paratroopers. By noon on the 17th of December, Heite's unit rounded up a total of around 300 troops. With only enough ammunition for a single fight, the force was too small to take the crossroads on its own. Heite first planned to wait for the arrival of the 12th SS Panzer Division, when they would suddenly seize the crossroads just before the arrival. But the 12th SS Panzer Division, unable to defeat the Americans, never arrived. After 3 days of waiting, Heite abandoned these plans and instead converted his mission to reconnaissance. But since none of the unit's radios survived the drop, he was unable to report the information he gathered. With only a single day's food supply and limited water, on the 19th of December, Heite withdrew his forces towards the German lines. Only about 1/3 reached the German rear. Heite, wounded, frostbitten and suffering from pneumonia, knocked on doors until he found a German family. The next morning he sent a boy with a surrender note to the Allies. He was taken prisoner on the 23rd of December and remained in custody until 1947. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you and see you in the next video.